Hello again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this portion, I want to take you through 8 of the most important inventions that the Sumerians made and gave to the rest of us. Many of these you will find familiar because they have been used now for well over 5,000 years. And the Sumerian civilization deserves a lot of our credit and a lot of our understanding and appreciation for what they did to make our lives this much better. Number one, we start with the Sumerian invention is the wagon wheel. And you think about how many times now in modern life that we use wheels. Now, not only did they use them for wagons and transportation, but they also used wheels to lift water out of rivers and into canals. And they would generally use animal power to make that wheel turn. But the wagon wheel, bringing transportation much easier and quicker and more efficient. The next one is the figuring out of how to use the arch. And the arch simply relies on a very simple physics formula. And that is, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And so when arches then are put in place, that equal opposite action to the action creates lift. And it allows for the engineering of much sturdier buildings. And as you study the Sumerian city-states, in this case Sumer, most of their buildings would be multi-level. And they were using arches to create lift so that they could have second and third stories in their family living dwellings. Because in modern-day Iraq, the temperature hasn't changed. It's still extremely hot in the summer. And so many of them would have rooftop sleeping quarters to try and sleep out when it was a little cooler in the night. The next one is the potter's wheel. And the potter's wheel was simply a tool that a potter would take clay and put it on the wheel and spin the wheel to create ceramic tools, bowls, eating utensils, pots, all right, pipes. They used all of the utensils that we use in our kitchens for plates, for forks, for spoons. They used the exact same utensils, except theirs were made out of ceramics or fire-hardened clay. And the potter's wheel made the making and the manufacture of those tools much quicker. The sundial, time management. They created a way to tell time. This is the first modern-day watch, the first modern-day clock. And as we go through class, we'll show you an example of a sundial. But a sundial was a large disc that laid flat with an angled triangle in it that would catch the sun. And as the sun would track from the east in the morning across the sky to the west, it would form a shadow. And as the shadow moved, or as the sun moved across, that angled wedge would catch it and create a shadow, and it would go across the sundial, allowing you to tell time. They gave us our first number system, which means that they had figured out a mathematics system. Their number system was based on 60, which on our very first day in class I explained to you why that was important. The number 60 is a very ingenious way to base your number system on. There are 60 seconds in a minute. There are 60 minutes in an hour. There are 24 hours in a day, very easily divided by 6. The concept of 6 is a very efficient number. There's 24,000 miles of Earth's circumference at the equator. With the equator having 24,000 miles of circumference, that's easily divided by 60 as well. So the number system based on 60 makes a tremendous amount of sense. One other thing that many people don't realize is that we measure the Earth in degrees of latitude, north and south of the equator, and longitude, all right, east and west from the prime meridian. We measure them in degrees. Well, how far is a degree? 60 nautical miles. So the Sumerians were very smart. They chose and based their number on 60 for a specific reason. It was a very effective and efficient mathematical system. Number 6, they created a 12-month calendar. They did this by following this, making it a lunar calendar, which means they followed the cycles of the moon. And the moon goes from a very thin crescent moon and then waxes to a full moon every 14 days, and then from a full moon back to a very thin crescent moon. which takes another 14 days. So it's 28-day months. Very accurate 12-month calendar. There are still nations today that use lunar calendars. If you go to the Middle East and you go to predominantly Arabic Muslim nations, they would be using a lunar calendar as well as the solar calendar that the rest of the Western nations use. Both highly accurate. Number 7, they developed an alloy, a metal alloy, mixing copper and tin to create an alloy known as bronze. Bronze, the ability to be shaped and yet firm enough to hold an edge and to be made into effective metal tools. And they implemented what's known as the Bronze Age. And the Bronze Age is going to last for well over 1,000 years before the iron comes into play. But bronze, a very, very important invention and modification made by the Sumerians. And the final one that we want to talk about plays off of bronze, and that is the inventing of a metal plow. To be able to create bronze plows that would allow the Sumerians to use the water from the Tigris and the Euphrates and put that metal plow into the dirt, and to use animal power to turn up and till the earth and be able to turn it up and till it in large amounts, and then they could use seeds and plant their crops, and it created an abundance of food. And because there was an abundance of food, then they had the strength and the energy to go about and create this marvelous, very first known civilization. You think about these 8 inventions by the Sumerians. They are inventions that we have copied and used every day, even in our modern world. The Sumerian inventions and the Sumerian civilization that created these inventions deserve our respect and our admiration. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, and as always, stay safe.